Well, I did some eBay gambling on some saws here. I bought an 034, an 024, and another 024. All of them came semi-assembled, missing a lot of parts. All three had handles. The handles were broken, so I've got new handles for them amongst all this mess. But I went through, starting with the 034. It had what I was hoping and gambling for, a good cylinder. Well, come to find out, I don't know if I'll get the light in there. Okay, right there on the transfer port, the ring caught, wrecked the cylinder. Piston was broken, rings were broken, and when I took it apart, it had one of those fancy two-piece crankshafts. So, with that being said, this one got an aftermarket crank and an aftermarket top end. I think just Farmer Tech parts. Was hoping to have all of the motor OEM here. The original Tillotson carb. I have a spare aftermarket carb for one of these, so I'm just going to throw it on. This one, I don't know. Maybe I will. I'll get the rebuild kit for this one. This first 024, the guy really didn't know what it was. So I was hoping everything was good. He said it had compression, which it did. It's just extremely dirty. This is the short stroke 024. As you can see, I've already opened up the transfers a bit. I'm waiting on bearings and seals and everything before I tear this one apart. And then I'll get in, check squish, do all the fun stuff. Second 024, this is the longer stroke 024. Same thing, I went in, started opening up the transfers, and I've got the jug just sitting on there, seeing where I gotta take a little bit more material. I'm gonna check both sides just so that that's nice and clean. I am not going to do, I'm going to keep everything OEM on these 024s. The garbage pile of parts, just kidding. They're good parts yet, got to clean everything, go through it all. In the vise here, I have the aftermarket cylinder for the 034-36. This one, it had a squish of about 40 thousandths. So my garage machine shop here, I had a block of wood, a piece of sandpaper on it to cut the squish. I kept going in circles, go this way, and I kept turning and slowly going continuous different directions. And I now have the squish on this cylinder down to 20 thousandths with no base gasket. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to just put gasket maker on as my base gasket. So I've got the transfers opened up from the bottom. I got to do just a little bit of cleanup on them yet. The exhaust, I raised up to 100 degrees. It was at 103. Transfers opened at 122, which I'm sure that would have ran just fine, but I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna try it. It's a cheap cylinder. The intake landed at 83, so it's got 166 degrees of duration on the intake. To me, sounds like a lot from stuff I've read, so I might have to come back and put a little JB weld on the floor of the intake. We'll wait and see. But this one is almost ready to go back together. Just got to kind of clean up the bench, clean up, chamfer the ports, a little bit of finish sanding on them type of thing. And I don't know, I got to put the boot on the intake. I don't really know that I'm going to do much. Maybe just rough up the intake a little more, but it already has pretty good roughness from the casting. Then I have an OEM muffler for this one, and I also had an aftermarket one, so I'm just going to gut the aftermarket one, make a real nice dual port muffler for this 36. That should be running this weekend. The two 024s. Hoping to do the longer stroke one first, the 32 millimeter stroke one, and I'll do the same thing once I get the bottom end put together. I'll check squish and everything, and I will, if need be, I'll use the same method of the sanding block with the jug and the vise actually for both of these. I'll get down to a little tighter squish and just kind of playing around. I could sell these saws after the fact and break even on them. I've had to buy enough parts where they're not a screaming deal right now, but I think they're good good saws to play around with and just kind of see how they do. I'd really like to know how these two compare against my 4910 Echo. And I do have an all Farmer Tech assembled straight out of the box 036 or 360 kit saw that I can compare this one against. Just kind of see how they do. Should be pretty fun. Nice. Those should be nice little light firewood saws. Hopefully this is a ripper. So that's a little update. I'm gonna keep going. I'll get another video once these two get closer, or once this one's finished up, kind of compared against something that's running.